students and all learners that are qualified to undertake the Samaritan by John Lara, the play or drama. So I will look at language and style for this particular book. And before I begin, I request you to subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed so that it will be easy for you to follow the updates as well as the learning that is taking place in this particular video. Thank you so much for your attention. So I will begin by looking at the part of language and style that we call imagery. The imagery is wide as we understand. I will begin by what you call ellipsis. Ellipsis is evident, especially when Meyamosi or Atunya stammers when talking to Nicole, Madam Nicole, that she should figure a way, and father says that it is that you need to attend to. He says, I will come up again, he says that he stammers to Nicole, that is Madam Nicole, that she should figure a way. Then there is that ellipsis which comes evident there. And the father says that in it, that you need, that you need to attend to. You need to attend to. There is an ellipsis which is evident. Get when I mean. This is evident in page 17. Page 17 of this book. It is evident here. Yes. That is when Mosi looking at Mr. Piro. He says that this thing we are talking about is a school project under their control. Turning to face the principal, he says that it is therefore within your powers to find a way around it. He pauses, then turns to face Nicole and says, think about it. You are at the center of it. Figure out a way. There is an ellipsis which comes there. Then a continuation after the ellipsis. Like writing to the Ministry of Education indicating that there are some fundamental errors in it that you need to attend to. Another ellipsis, then continuation. Get what I mean? Yeah. So this ellipsis is evident in this particular page. And it is where Mayor Mosi tries to convince Madame Nicole to withdraw this particular app from its continuation. So, when Piro says that, pardon me, your worship, but they cannot overrule the minister, page 18, another ellipsis. Just the beginning of page 18 at the top. That is Piro speaking. He says that, pardon me, your worship, but they cannot overrule the minister. Then ellipsis. So I will also look at another type of imagery under these stylistic devices. There is what we call a play within a play. A play within a play or drama inside drama is evident, especially when Alvita and Montano perform a skit. During that performance, when they showcase the future as they imagine of a world of despair with a degraded environment, malnutrition, crime, and poverty, as contrasted with a world when technology brings hope in the judicial sector and human lifespan too. So this is evident from page 4 to page 13 during the performance of that skit that is performed during the launching of the Samaritan app at Sagrada Secondary School. So that is the major one that is evident, a play within a play. And when you read those pages 4 to 13, you will be able to get a clear explanation. There is also another style, uh, which is allusion. Allusion is also clear. Allusion, or we can call it biblical allusion. We can turn to page 13, where this one is evident. Page 13 of this book. There is allusion or biblical allusion. This one is evident here, where Alvita says the Samaritan was named after the parable of the Good Samaritan, narrated in the good book. This is the Bible. The story of the Good Samaritan is narrated in the Bible. So Alvita says that the app relies on volunteers. These are good people who are ready to volunteer information that advances the public good. That's why we named the application the Samaritan, after the parable of the Good Samaritan narrated in the good book. So that also brings about the title of this book, The Samaritan. So there is also another style that we have to look at, and this is irony. Irony. It is so ironical when Mayor Mosi Oatunya, it becomes ironical when he says that he is given the mandate by the people of the municipality, that is Maracas municipality, to protect their public interest. Yet he has an intention of blocking the advancement of the Samaritan app innovation that could save them. So it becomes so ironical. How can he say that he has the people in heart when he criticizes the advancement of the app and he doesn't want it to be launched, he doesn't want it to advance and work for the people? So it's so ironical, whatever that he says. So this is on page 18. When I open page 18 to show the evidence, it is very clear that uh, he says that Moses says that I cannot argue with a simple chairman of a local school board. I am a Mayor Mosi Owatunya, the smoke that thunders. I have been given express mandates by the people of Maracas municipality to protect their interests or their public interest. That is what I am doing, and that is what I must do. So when he says that, it becomes ironical because we find him uh, against the advancement of the Samaritan app that could help these people that he leads. So we still continue looking at other stylistic devices that fall under imagery, and there's another one we call satire. Satire. So when we look at that part of play within a play, it becomes a satire of what will happen in the future. So the mayor together with its leaders, reject the incredible innovation of the Samaritan app. So how does this happen? So within a few minutes, the mayor directs the principal uh, and learners that the innovation can't continue. So he releases learners from the ceremony, then calls teachers with other leaders to discuss on the way forward. Little did they know that it was to cancel the continuity of the app. So there is some satire evident in that. There is also what we call sarcasm. Sarcasm. Sarcasm may be related to irony, but there is a slight difference. So it is so sarcastic when Moses says he would be delighted by the medicine that regenerates his body cells if it was discovered today. So it would be enable it would enable him to live for 422 more years. This is on page 14. This sarcasm is on page 14, and I like following that example. So it is during the launching of the app when Alvita and Montano perform the skit, and they talk of how uh, a medicine can be developed or can be uh, formed which can regenerate somebody's cells so that they can live many years. So it is so sarcastic when Mosiko Atunya supports that, and yet he is against the entire uh, project of this app. So the mayor also praises the Samaritan app as an incredible innovation that they have to discuss the way forward after the students leave, only to tell them that he will not continue with this thing. He even calls it this thing. Imagine how he lowers uh, its dignity, the way uh, he lowers this up to calling it a thing. All this is found on page 14 and 15. If you need to get it clearly, you can go through those two pages. There's also symbolism. Symbolism is evident also when Montano says we better discuss which side of the fence that bird will fly when it eventually decides to fly. It's on page 9. So the bird that Montano talks about represents the municipal leaders who have to make the decision for the state and citizens. They have to make the decision between uh, the state and also the citizens. So on page 9, it's also clear. You can look at it and get more understanding about all that. So apart from all those other stylistic key devices, there's also similes, but I will give example of a few. Uh, Page 18, there's a simile there that her sharp footsteps can be heard reverberating in the corridor like castanets. So, because of the use of the word like to show some comparison, so this is considered a simile on page 18. And another one on page 16. You can just send a text message on the app and it spreads like a wild bushfire. That is another one on page 16 that is very clear and evident. There is also another style that we call personification. Personification is evident when Montano tells Alvita that your nose was running, that the nose is personified here. Page 6. That is where you can find this particular personification. And there's another one on page 8 that Montano informs Alvita that you had a fertile imagination. Basdale also says that it will be a decision. Okay, no, it says that it will be a delicious new dawn in our islands. This one is found on page 19. Yeah, and without forgetting this, what we call vivid description. Vivid description on page 1. It's so clear. When you look at page 1, this one I have to open. Page 1 at the beginning, there is some vivid description that is given here uh, of the arrangement of the dais where the leaders are supposed to sit during the launching of this app in the school, that is Grada Secondary School. So the vivid description is given here. The scene is introduced with an in-depth description of the setting, how the chairs are arranged, the dais. There's a podium between the front row and the dais. The teachers and students are seated. Teachers on the front row talking among themselves. Uh, and everything else is vividly described the way the setting is. And when we look at page 3 of the book, we also have another vivid description, which is also evident that Narine is described as motherly, tall, plump lady in her late 50s. Also, Madame Nicole, is portrayed as she is dressed uh, in a trademark style. She is dressed in a trademark style comprising flowery Banarasi silk sari and a headscarf. Page 3. All that is explained there. It's so evident in that page. So we still continue looking at other devices. So further description about Nicole also shows it shows her as a young, tall, light-skinned lady of medium build, a renowned beauty and uncompromising moralist. Also in the same page 3, that Mayor, page 2, there's another one about Mayor. So we are done of that of Madame Nicole is found in page 3. So Mayor is a tall man called Mosi, page 2. That is another vivid description. And when we move to page 4 and page 3 and 4, Nicole is described as she is sporting a wavy side ponytail hairstyle and is smartly dressed in a black skirt and a white blouse. So that is very evident. It's coming out clearly. Apart from the vivid description, we can also look at hyperbole, or what we call overstatement or extreme exaggeration. When Moses says how delighted he would be if the medicine for regenerating his cells is discovered, that would enable him live for 422 more years. So Moses says also that I accidentally swallowed a whole toothpick, page 16. Nicole's movement is also exaggerated with her sharp footsteps, which can be heard reverberating in the corridor like castanets. That is found on page 18. So all that is hyperbole. There's also another one on page 6 that Montano tells Alvita what she sees in future. The way your nose was running as though you had a drum of flutes in the middle of your head. So that is another hyperbole. How can somebody have a drum of flutes in the head? So it's an exaggeration, kind of. That is why it's called hyperbole. We also continue. As we continue, Montano tells Alvita, still under hyperbole, that you had a fertile imagination. That is another hyperbole evident in this particular book, page 8. Nicole also tells the students what are overeated imagination. Page 9, it's also clear there. There's a metaphor, there's another style that we call metaphor. This is a direct comparison metaphor. So Montano tells Alvita, you had a fertile imagination. So fertile imagination is what is considered as a metaphor. So there are so many others, but this is just an example I've highlighted. Apart from that, we have what we call euphemism. Euphemism comes evident, there's a style, yeah, it's called euphemism, and it becomes evident when Montano tells Alvita, your nose was running. This is found on page 6. There's also what you call rhetorical questions, questions that do not require responses or answers. Montano asks Alvita the possibility of a better change. What will all these criminal gangs in the municipality on page 8? So that is a rhetorical question because it doesn't require any response. Alvita asks Montano, haven't you read about decision-making algorithm? That is page 8 also. It's very clear. I will open this so that it will be also clear to you. Page 8. Page 8. Yeah, it's evident here. That question is evident here. I can see it. That, oh yes, that is Alvita. Oh yes, it can. Haven't you read about decision-making algorithms? Algorithms. That word has to be clear to you. I will come up again that, oh yes, it can. Haven't you read about decision-making algorithms? You see, if today a computer software can do a better job than an accountant or a lawyer, uh, then what is so special about developing an artificial police officer or judge? So it's also evident there. Alvita asks, what is so special about developing an artificial police officer or judge? The same as I've read on page 8. So all those are rhetorical questions. And that is what I have prepared so far for this imagery or the stylistic devices under imagery. I thank you for following. Remember to subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you for watching.